I'm Rachel, the daughter, and I have one brother, and I wish he were here. Ever since I can remember, I've held my mother up as a model. So different in personality, and yet she was my teacher, and her identity for a very long time intertwined with mine. And some of you today called me Rhoda. I don't chafe at that at all. In fact, it's kind of nice. People don't call me Rhoda unless they knew my mother. And I appreciate that. Mom was my constant companion when I was growing up. I don't remember having many babysitters. She spent many hours telling me stories and teaching me songs that she learned as a child. Songs that I have passed on to my children and that we sing today. Little songs, children's songs. Mother gave attention to detail. She taught me to iron my father's handkerchiefs so that the corners were straight until I graduated to something more complicated. She taught me to sew and sewed all my dresses until I learned to do it well enough. She taught me to wash dishes in the correct order. First the glasses, then the silverware, then the dishes, and last the pots and pans. I could never attend to all the details, though, as well as Mom could. Yet, as an adult, I haven't felt her criticism. She allowed me to be me. We lived in a tiny house next to the church where Dad was pastor and where she was his partner in mission. Mom and I sat through many, many meetings. She never seemed to tire of those meetings, and she calmed my restlessness in church by stroking or playing the piano on my arm. Mom modeled hospitality by getting up early on Sunday morning to prepare dinner, which she would put in the oven between Sunday school and church after the Sunday school class that met in our kitchen was finished. The table had been expanded so that if there were visitors at church, we could invite them for Sunday dinner. Our kitchen was used for baking cookies and packing Christmas baskets to bring cheer and care. She had sewing classes for the teenage girls, Jean being one, in our middle room, and even hosted a few weddings in our tiny living room. Mom taught kindergarten for a number of years at Sharon School in Tampa, and she was my third grade teacher. I didn't like that. My friends often told me that Mom had been their favorite teacher. Why, I would ask. She sure didn't make my list. But the answer was always the same. She was fair. She had no teacher's pets, not even her only daughter. Conrad and I shared our mother with other children. She loved children, and if they needed her to mother them, that's what she did. She loved Jordan Talkington, for example, who as a little boy spent months in our home at several different times. She was a wonderful grandmama as well, and taught our daughter Belinda to sew as well. She took prayer seriously. She prayed for all of us, children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She prayed for people going through illness, difficult marriages, or personal struggles that they had confided in her. She wanted to know how her prayers were answered. Especially, she wanted to know about mission updates. All my life, I've counted on her prayers. Mom was in many ways a private person. In the small cabinet beside her favorite chair, I have found some of her treasures. Cards, notes, letters, journals, notebooks. These notebooks are from the 2 years of college in the mid-40s when she had insisted on studying the Bible and even Greek along with the male students. She loved this learning so much that she saved the class notes, assignments, papers, and tests from those classes through all the moves of her lifetime. Imagine Tampa, well, from the north to the south, Tampa, Sarasota, Sunnyside, Goshen. I found poetry and music she wrote, Much of this creativity, though, she kept to herself, and we've found it since. I'm learning to know my mother in a different way. Mother aged gracefully, and she never seemed to rage at her decline. She moved from organizer of tasks to doing whatever part she could. As she lost her hearing, she laughed at herself often when she realized that what she thought she heard was very different from what had actually been said. She wanted to set the table, and whenever she could, she unloaded the dishwasher. She climbed the steps in our house. We had 7 from her room to the kitchen, and she climbed them with determination and said they kept her strong. When the light was bright enough, she read the newspaper and the guideposts and the birds in bloom, and she enjoyed Wheel of Fortune especially. And when her illnesses made it too difficult to make decisions, she accepted my suggestions. And she played bookworm on her laptop as long as she could. And if you saw the picture of her with a teddy bear, an orange teddy bear, which is back on the table, that's Spike. She never had a teddy bear until just within the last year. She enjoys Spike, and we're going to put him into the niche beside her box when we get over to the columbarium. Mother and Dad lived with us in Indiana since summer 2007, and early on January 3, Dad and I released her from her obligation to stay with us. What a blessing it's been to all of us to have her near. So many happy memories, especially for me. I miss her eyes lighting up and her kiss when I come home from work or from a trip. I miss her gentle suggestions and the touch of her hand when we pray at supper. In an exercise at a family reunion, just in the past couple years, we were asked to write down a question we would ask Jesus if we could. And Mother's response, I found, and it continues to inspire me. Her question she wanted to ask Jesus was, what would please you most?